Everybody, welcome to number 76, the SongBike Guitar Q&A live stream. Hey, hope you had a great 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks since I've seen you. I hope you're doing great. Took the week off last Saturday, back today. I'm here for your questions. My name's Jonathan. Nice to meet you. In between your questions, lots of good stuff for us to think about, talk about, debate about. We have a poll question in the chat, so don't be shy. The poll question is, what's on your holiday wish list? It's that time of the year, right? If you could pass your wish list on to someone, would you be asking for a new guitar, a new amp, some new effects, maybe lessons, maybe something that you want to put in the chat? Go ahead. Those of you who are already with us, we have a couple dozen people already in watching right now. Awesome. Go ahead and vote in that poll. In between your questions, lots of stuff to talk about. There's a big parade going on outside. Small town Connecticut, man. They shut down Main Street for the parade. And that's adorable. But wait, it gets better. I have to move my truck off of Main Street because I don't want to get blocked in after the live stream. But if I move my truck, then all my students who come in today, they all say, hey, I didn't see your truck outside. I wasn't sure if you were here. That's small town. So I left my truck there during all the lessons, and then as soon as the lessons are over, I moved my truck. So we're gonna have the big holiday parade here on Main Street. That's what's going on in the neighborhood. So we might even hear some sounds as we do our live stream. We have a new affiliate link, by the way. Those of you who are interested in buying something from Sweetwater, here comes the new affiliate link. I'm gonna put this in the chat. Something happened with the old affiliate link. It might return. In the meantime, here is the new affiliate link. What am I talking about? I'm talking about this. If you're going to buy yourself something, maybe buy it from Sweetwater. If you buy it from Sweetwater, click on that link in the chat, and that's how Sweetwater knows that I sent you to them, and then they support our live stream here. Okay, that's what's going on. So here's some things that we're going to cover today in between your questions, but I hope your questions are plentiful. We're going to talk about, do you fix it or do you keep playing? Philosophically, what do you do as mistakes happen? We're going to talk about that a little bit. Jimmy Herring, terrific guitar player. I was watching a YouTube interview with Jimmy Herring, and he said something interesting about how he learned to play the guitar, and involved a very unique perspective on music that only a guitar player would have, or at least it's something that guitar players have to deal with, that a horn player, piano player, drummer, they don't have to deal with this stuff. So I want to share that little insight with you. Scales. Can scales save your ego? Yes, they can. We talked about this a little bit last time. I want to talk about that more today. I'm going to teach you a couple of lessons you'll never forget. We're going to talk about recycling your scales. Do you know a scale? Good. We're going to recycle it into something else. A cute thing I call power chord cousins. Some of you may be very familiar with power chords. How about a cousin to the power chord? I'm going to show you what you can do with a power chord cousin. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Love of Fuzz. I got my new t-shirt here, Love of Fuzz. I got some show and tell in a little while. I'm going to give you a little demo out of my Christmas book. It's not too late to get a Christmas song up and running. If Christmas is your holiday, I'm going to give you a little demo as to what that book can help you with. Speaking of Christmas, anybody aware of Tuba Christmas? I'm going to tell you a little bit about Tuba Christmas and how you can locate the closest Tuba Christmas to your town. We're going to talk about some more of the 50 global guitar greats as brought to us by Songlines magazine. We're going to talk about some more Grammy nominees. Oh man, this might be the best week ever for Grammy nominees. People who might be receiving a Grammy this coming February. I got five more to share with you. 4 of which I don't think I've ever mentioned on this show. Oh man, can't wait to share those names and links with you. What else? We got a student quote of the week, which is a good one. They're always good, but this one's a little bit unique. Should I sell out? Little segment we call Should I Sell Out? I've got a couple of offers this week. I'm going to share those offers with you, and we'll ask the question, should I sell out? We already know I'm not going to sell out. Who's in town? We got Irish music in town. Lots to talk about in terms of Irish music in my neighborhood this month of December, including a sold-out show coming up this week. We also have our guitar play-along song of the week. It's a classic. It's a good one. Oh, and it actually ties in with one of the 50 global guitar greats. All shall be revealed. What else? During the whole live stream, you can be sure I will be thinking of the Chinese food that is waiting for me at home, because there's nothing like Chinese food, even if it's leftover from Friday night. That's what's on my mind. Okay, your questions are what matter to me. Hey, Bruce. Bruce has a question. Bruce, you asked a question last week, and I didn't even see it until I was time-stamping the video the next day, and I'm very sorry for that. So, Bruce, if you remember that question, feel free to ask it again. But Bruce has a question right now. Bruce from Sydney, Australia. Bruce, I hope Byron is in the neighborhood, is watching as well. Okay, Bruce says, Jonathan, when you are improvising to a blues track, do you focus on one position and shift through several positions? Can you solo well with one position? I'm going to answer your second question first. Yes, you can solo well. We all can, in one position. So I'm going to use an A minor pentatonic scale, and I'm going to add a couple of notes to turn it into an A blues scale. And so, yeah, sure, it's all in how you use it, right? So your first part of your question, is that what I do? Like if I'm doing with a blues track? No, not necessarily. It depends on what my goal is. Maybe I just learned a new trick, a new thing, and I'm going to do that thing a bunch of times during a blues, while a blues backing track is playing in the background, because that's my new thing. And it might be something that has me zipping around through multiple positions. So just to be clear, what Bruce is talking about, which some of you might not, might help to have a little illumination. When someone talks about soloing in one position or staying in one position, I was covering the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th frets, right? But played a whole bunch of notes. I wasn't going anywhere, so to speak, right? I didn't go down to 4, 3, 2, or 1. I didn't zip up to the 12th fret, right? I stayed in one position. So in fact, I would say you should be able to play. That should be a goal of yours, to communicate, to express yourself in one position, without even worrying about zipping it over to other positions, right? Doing, in this case, the A minor pentatonic or the A blues scale, lower or higher up the neck. It's really important to be able to communicate and express yourself in one position, because it speaks to your understanding of music, period, So, so when Bruce, when you say, can I solo well with one position? I can, I cannot embarrass myself. So if a band is, if they've got an A, there's an A blues going in the background, and someone looks at me and they want me to play a solo, I'd like to think I can carry my own for 12 measures, right? A 12-bar blues, and then the song can continue on. So yeah, I feel confident I can get the job done. Like a tradesman, you install that sheetrock, get it done, everyone's happy. And certainly all of our favorite guitar players, the best of the best, they certainly can get the job done in one position. But what if I'm doing something? What if I'm doing something where I'm practicing sliding up the neck? Then clearly I'm zipping around and I'm not staying in one position, but that's because I'm practicing a different skill, So yeah, it depends on the skill. And just to finish up, to answer your question in a little more depth, what makes someone expressive or successful at soloing in one position, one thing that makes you successful, is choosing your notes wisely to reflect whatever chord is happening at that moment. So here's my A. I'll put this in the description of the video, by the way. Here's my A minor pentatonic, which I'm adding a couple of notes to make it an A blues scale. I got bass string, 6th string, 5, 8. On the 5th string, I have 5, 6, 7. 4th string, I have 5, 7. 3rd string, 5, 7, 8. 2nd string, 5, 8. 1st string, 5, 8. Okay, so there's my A blues scale, which is extremely similar to an A minor pentatonic scale. Okay, so the presumption here is there's a band in the background or backing track that's doing a 12-bar blues in the key of A. Great. Not surprisingly, the first thing they're doing is something that reflects an A chord, or really more like an A7 chord. They might be doing an A shuffle. Okay, so I know any note A that I play, for instance, skinny E, 5th fret, I know that's going to be very appropriate at that moment. I'm going to play other notes, but I know that A is going to be, you know, a very important note. It's the root note of the chord or the thing that they're doing. When they change to the next chord in the 12-bar blues, which is going to be a D7 or D something, right? It's extremely important to know where a D is in that mix of notes I just played, right? So as long as I know where that D is, and I hit it even just one time, the band changes from the A, I'm going to do an A shuffle, and the band changes to the D shuffle, and at that moment I go like, there's my G string, 3rd string, 7th fret. That's the note D. Even if I just hit it one time, it lets everybody know that I'm with the program. I know where we are, and I can play a bunch of other notes. But you know, my nickname for these, target notes. Okay, I'm targeting the root note of whatever the band is doing in the background, and then I feel like I've made my point, and I can go on and play some other notes. But there's no doubt in anyone's mind that, you know, I'm doing appropriate stuff, you know, at a minimum, just to play the root note of what the band is playing. That's like the least thing. Okay. And you can do that staying in one position, just to finish my thought here. In fact, I would say you have to be able to do that in one position, because if you can't find the target notes you need in one position, notes like A, D, and E in the key of A, if you can't find those notes, well, what's the chances? What are the chances you're going to find them as you zip up and down the neck? You know, and we could do a whole lesson on target notes. We probably have touched on it multiple times. I don't know if we ever like sat and did a lesson on it. Ooh, I could get my looper going, and see, my little brain is working here. Yeah, target notes. Target notes are what make you sound like you're not a beginner anymore. Again, even if you just hit the target note, if you hit the D note, any D note, right when the band shifts gears from, say, an A7 chord to a D7 chord, and you hit that D note, that's what makes you sound like you're at the next level. No matter what happens after that, that's okay, you know. Wingo, I see your question. Wingo says, any tips on funk guitar strumming? I can't manage that at all. Well, who doesn't like some funky guitar strumming? I know I do. The first thing that comes to mind is your picking hand. You need to be extremely comfortable with down, up. Just that nice, relaxed down, up motion. Very light grip on the pick. For sure, you can't be funky if you're uptight, right? And the funk music relies so much on the 16th note feeling. Watermelon, pepperoni, peanut butter, right? The underlying, in my opinion, underlying all funk music is that feeling, right? So my pick is going to reflect that with a, even if I don't hit the strings every time, I've set my wrist in motion. I don't see how you can play a funky thing appropriately without that. And again, holding the pick super loose. The pick, sometimes in a lesson, to illustrate what I'm doing here, I'll say to a student, take the pick out of my hand, and they'll, it'll just come out. And hope they're surprised at how easy it is to take it out of my hand. I'm right on the edge of dropping it, in terms of your left hand, your fretting hand, just so you know, I was doing what I consider to be kind of funky. An E7 chord. I got my middle finger, 5th string 7, my index finger, 4th string 6, and my ring finger, my 3rd finger, 3rd string 7. 3 of the 4 notes of an E7 chord. I'm choosing that because to me, a 7th chord is a pretty funky sound, a lot more funky than a major or minor. Okay. Another reason I chose that particular chord is, see my 3rd finger right there? I'm being nice and lazy. I'm letting it relax and mute out the first 2 strings. And I know you can't see it too well. The skin from my middle finger on the 5th string, 7th fret, the tip of it is just barely touching the 6th string. And so the 6th string is also pretty muted. Okay, that allows me to keep up that casual kind of strumming without even the least worry in the world that I'm going to hit a string I don't mean to hit. I don't care, because I'm controlling which strings you are hearing. You're hearing the 5th, 4th, and 3rd strings. Okay, now why is that so important? I'm going to gently bounce on the strings. Talking about my fretting hand here. When I say I'm bouncing, I'm squeezing and relaxing. And depending on exactly when I squeeze and relax, music is coming out. My picking is not changing at all. My right hand, I'm on autopilot. And now, you're essentially hearing my left hand providing you vibrating guitar strings or taking away the vibrating guitar strings. Weird, right? Weird, because you think, oh, your pick makes the music, right? Not in this particular case. And that's a funky sound, right? The 16th notes are incessant, repetitive, but some of them are audible as an E7 chord, and some of them are just percussive. Okay, so that is, that's, a start. I would not consider myself a funk expert, but if I found myself in a funky situation, or if I wanted to write a funky song, constant down up 16th notes, again, peanut butter with your pick. And with your left hand, you want to, bar chords. Those of you who are comfortable with bar chords are great for this, because you are truly controlling all 6 strings. Right now I'm doing an A minor bar chord at the 5th fret and 7th fret. Now don't worry, if you're not comfortable with bar chords, that's fine. You could take, this will be relevant later in the show when we do our guitar play-along song of the week. Make a 1-finger bar, 3 treble strings, 3rd fret. Okay, set your pick on just a steady stream of down, up, only on the 3 skinny strings. And then squeeze, or don't squeeze. Oh, by the way, my thumb is sort of right opposite my index finger, pointing up towards the ceiling. So hopefully, Ringo, those are some tips that keep you in mind. Ringo says, my wrist is too uptight. Yeah, here's what you do. Imagine your hand just got wet, right? and you don't want your hand to be wet. You think, you shake it out like that, right? Shake out that hand, you know. Those are some thoughts. Okay. Hey, our moderator is with us. Beginner Guitar Lessons. Thanks for being here, Beginner Guitar Lessons. Okay. Hey, I'm going to say a few more hellos. Who's here? Puba John is here. Rock Lobster. Chris is here from Central New Jersey. Zulozia Zombie from Poland. All right. Scott Rhodes is joining us. Scott's got his Taylor acoustic, and his Dan Electro 12-string is tuned and standing by. Scott, you got that tuned up to standard pitch? Do you ever tune it down a little bit? Chaz is in the chat. Hello, Chaz. Zulozia Zombie is saying it's cold there in Eastern Europe. Yeah, you got some mulled wine. That sounds great. Lucky duck. I'm proud to be and flattered and honored to be part of your evening with some mulled wine. I know it's late there in Poland. Christian from Denmark. Hello, Christian. Matt Dullahunt. Hello. Joseph Martinez. Hello. Thunder Ace. Hello. Michael Fisher. Michael says, Jonathan, thanks for all the content you provide to us all. Hope you and your family have a Merry Christmas. Thank you, Michael. I wish you and everybody the same. Okay, so funk. That's why I never know what you guys are going to ask. It's great. Now I have a little funk frame of mind in my head. Okay, let's talk about something philosophical for a moment. Do you fix it or do you keep playing? Let's take this apart for a minute. Tonight's live stream is definitely not sponsored by Rogers Orchards. Some great apple cider. They are located in Southington, Connecticut, but as usual, you have to give credit to where the apples came from. Leominster, Massachusetts. There you go. A little bit of cider hit the spot. Okay. So when you're practicing something, whether it's the first time you've ever looked at it or the 100th time, you make a mistake. Do you stop and fix it or do you keep playing? Now, of course, if it's a live performance in front of your fellow human beings, you keep playing. We all know that, right? We all know that, right? You never stop. The show must go on. But it's a really important philosophical point when it's just you and your instrument and the papers in front of you. Of course, you want to stop and fix the mistake. There's a time, though, when you should not stop. Just keep going, fix it the next time around. How do you know the difference? Okay. If you made the mistake because you don't understand something, because it's unfamiliar, it's foreign, a certain chord, say, and you get to that part of the song and the chord is a big old squonk, and you just know it's, if it's something you don't understand, then yeah, stop, fix it, address it, put a circle around it. I'm big on having a pencil nearby. There we go. Having a pencil nearby. One of my students, by the way, is a tattoo artist. So if you're on the Connecticut shoreline, you're looking for a tattoo, the Dead Whale Tattoo Studio. He gave me one of his pencils. The Dead Whale Tattoo Studio. Get yourself inked up. I'm big on, in my own practicing, circling stuff, putting stars, whatever it takes, I also like to put the date on stuff, by the way, just so I know when I looked at it. It just makes me feel like it's like leaving my initials someplace, like I was here December of 2024. So if you do understand what you just did, you went to do a certain chord, a finger you didn't get a good grip on one of the strings that came out buzzing, there's a time and a place to continue on. Don't go back and fix that chord. You know that chord. Sometimes it's a lot more important to get in the habit of keeping the flow going. Music isn't music unless it flows. You guys know that, right? Because you know what it's like to work on something over and over again, and you're making progress, but you clearly it's not music yet. Why isn't it music? Because it's not flowing. Music happens in real time. In that sense, music is like sports, right? The ball comes, someone hits a baseball at your face. There's no time for philosophy, right? Music, there's no time. Milliseconds, right? If anything is off by a millisecond in music, it's not music yet, right? Okay. You can't get in the habit of stopping every time you make a mistake, especially if it's just a goofy thing, like your pinky didn't grab the note squarely. We've all done that, right? So it's up to you to decide on a case-by-case basis, a mistake-by-mistake basis, when it's time to stop and fix something, and when you just really just get in the habit of playing, fix it the next time around, especially if it's a thing that repeats anyways, then fix it the next time around. But this is worth thinking about. I know it sounds funny to say don't fix every mistake you ever make, but sometimes it's not the right approach. When you're first looking at a piece, that's, or an exercise, scales, arpeggios, whatever, then yeah, you really want to take your time and make sure you know what you're doing. You're going to do a lot of stopping, right, in that situation. If it's the 100th time you've played something and you're getting halfway decent at it, and then you hear something you didn't like, that's different. Then okay, you get what I'm saying, right? But I bring this up because I want it to be fresh in your brain. The next time you're working on something, do you really want to fix that mistake? Maybe, maybe not, Okay, so I want to put that out there. Oh, I'm going to use my cool pencil to check that up. Oh, what are the chances? Look at that pencil. I just went to check something off and it broke. Okay. The show must go on, right? The show must go on. That happens. We can live with that. So I'm watching a Jimmy Herring interview. Jimmy Herring has played with a bunch of people, did a stint with the Allman Brothers, Widespread Panic, Grateful Dead. One of my favorite things to do is I kind of binge watch a bunch of interviews with whatever guitar player crosses my mind. So recently I've been watching a bunch of Jimmy Herring interviews on YouTube. And he talked about some that caught my attention. When he was a younger guy, before YouTube, before so many things were presented to us, for free online, right? You'd have to figure out songs by ear. And he made an interesting point. He said, one of the things that guitar players have to deal with is learning stuff by ear and having to figure out if the sound you're hearing is coming from an open string or a fretted note. Right there, you hear a sound, you're trying to figure out a song from a record on a record player, right? Let's say 1972, and you hear a note. I mean, that's a pretty huge question that you have to find the answer to that question as you figure out a tune. Was that note achieved on an open string or a fretted note? And if it was a fretted note, like I just did there with a note E, was it the second string 5th fret E, 3rd string 9th fret, 4th string 14th fret? Was the open 1st string? Easy E, as I like to call it, right? Very unique to guitar players. We're not the only ones, stringed instrument folks. Say a banjo player, for example. I'm sure trumpets, flutes, saxophones, pianists, I'm sure they have their own challenges. Of course they do, right? Of course they do. But what an interesting point, right? Imagine a young guy trying to figure out songs by ear, right? Because there's no other option. I mean, that's, or at least even if there were other options, sometimes you find yourself trying to figure stuff out by ear, right? Maybe the song, the thing you're trying to learn, maybe no one made a video for it. It's not on YouTube. No one posted the tab on Ultimate Guitar. Or maybe someone did something, you watch and didn't seem right. You think, nah, I'm going to figure out how to do it because what they did didn't seem right. That's possible, right? So yeah, very, very guitar-centric challenge. Did we hear an open string? Or did we hear the same note fretted? You can hear that little difference, right? The open string, here comes the open string, that twangy, clear kind of sound versus second string, 5th fret. Slightly different timbre, I would call that. You think the 3rd string, 9th fret is going to sound much different from the 2nd string, 5th fret. Here's 2nd string 5. third string. I mean, I can hear a little difference, right? It's like, to me, it's literally a thicker sound. I mean, that's what comes to mind. It's a thicker tone. There's more going on there. Interesting, man. Interesting. Hey, Watcher Dan, welcome. Welcome. So I wanted to run that by you. Just kind of an interesting guitar-centric kind of note. Okay, check. So my friends, how about a lesson you'll never forget? Let's do it. What I have here in front of me, bear with me, folks. Yeah, let's do this. I'm going to share the screen because why not? Power chord cousins. This is going to be physically easy for many of you. But it's a concept you might not have thought. Okay, here comes, I'm sharing the screen. Don't worry if your screen goes black for a moment. Don't freak out. Power chord cousins. What you're about to learn is based on G, C, and F. But we're not going to play G, C, and F. But I put those diagrams up there. Okay, let's talk about what a power chord is, and then let's talk about these cousins right there. And if you can't wait, go ahead and play that little thing at the bottom of the page there, that tab at the bottom of the page. Okay, power chord. I'll do a G power chord. Fat string, 3rd fret with my index finger. Also, 5th string, 5th fret with my ring finger, or you could use your pinky. And you play them both at the same time. There's a power chord. What I'm doing here is the note G on the 6th string. And on the other string, my ring finger has the 5th note of a G major scale, happens to be the note D, G and D, and that's a power chord. It's the 1st note of a scale and the 5th note of the scale played at the same time. There's your power chord. So lots of times you see that described as G5, a G power chord, G5. 1st note of a G scale and the 5th note of a G scale. Okay, so what's this business about? A cousin. All those times that you've played a G chord, you have that G note, 6th string, 3rd fret, that's the note G, and 5th string, 2nd fret, right? That's B. G and B, the 1st note of a G scale, G, and the 3rd note of a G scale, B. Now, those 2 notes alone are 2/3 of the ingredients you need to give the world a G chord. A G chord, by definition, is a G note, a B note, B as in Bravo, and a D note, D as in Delta. So we got 2/3 of them right there. So you could just play those 2 notes and get your point across. And now that you've got those 2 notes, established, you can take that grip. I'm using my ring in middle, and you can move that all up and down the neck. Every one of those I'm calling a power chord cousin. It's something that you could play instead of the actual chord. So for instance, I got my ring finger 8 on the 6th string, my middle finger 7 on the 5th string. Those are 2 of the 3 notes of a C major chord, C as in Charlie. So I got a nice tight little sound. Maybe that's the sound I want. I don't need a whole bar chord. I don't need the old-fashioned C jangling away down there. Maybe I just want that little. By the way, I could play them as individual notes. Now, some of you might be saying, wait, that's kind of too easy. I mean, it's 2 notes, 2 fingers. I never said it was hard. Not everything on the guitar has to be hard, right? That's a cool concept. We're about to do the same thing based on a C major chord. Here's my C major chord, the old-fashioned cowboy C major chord. And now, middle and ring. I'm going to isolate my middle and ring fingers. My ring finger, 5th string, 3rd fret, that's the note C. Middle finger, 4th string, 2nd fret, the note E. I have the 1st note of a C chord, the note C. Sorry, the 1st note of a C scale, the note C. And the 3rd note of a C scale, E. So there's 2/3 of what I need to give the world a C chord. I know, by the way, we all think of a C chord as this grip, right? A C chord means you put your hand in this position, you strum it. That's a C chord. But it goes beyond that, right? If you just think as a guitar player, yes, that is a valid C chord. If you think even bigger musically, a C chord is 3 notes, a C note, an E note, and a G note on any instrument, piano, any instrument. So there's 2/3 of a C major chord, and that's a grip. That can also be slid up and down the neck. Okay, little cousin to a power chord. So take a look at the bottom of the page. Name that tune. I mean, it's actually probably 1,000 songs of this riff, but so I'm reflecting a D chord, I'm reflecting a G, I'm reflecting an A chord. Is it the complete chord? No, but it's 2 of the 3 notes, and it helps me, especially on electric guitar, it helps me get a controlled, punchy sound. I can dampen it, I can let it ring. I can arpeggiate it. Not much of an arpeggio, right? Because it's only 2 notes, but you know. Okay, so what song is that? You know that song? Rock Lobster says, shake it up, shake it up. Yeah, twist and shout, right? Twist and shout in the key that the Beatles do it in. I feel obligated to tell you the Isley Brothers original version is so good. It's not in this key. If you have not heard the Isley Brothers version, or you haven't heard it recently, you got to go back and listen to the Isley Brothers version. Wingo knows. Twist and shout. There you go. Hey, last thing for extra credit. I'm going to go back to, I'm going to use the D as an example. Like I've been saying, all this stuff is reflecting major chords, right? What if you want to use this power chord cousin trick to reflect a minor chord? Easy peasy. So here I am doing the D, the 2 notes that reflect a D major chord. 5 on the 5th string with my ring finger, 4 on the 4th string with a middle finger. That's a D note and an F sharp note. To make that minor, check this out. Instead of D and F sharp, D and F natural, regular F. Index finger 3 on the 4th string. So I was doing 5th fret and 4th fret. And here's 5th fret and 3rd fret. See how my index finger is right back there, just waiting for something to do? Okay, so if a song, I'm making up a little tune here that goes from D major to E minor. Those are 2 chords that sound good together, D major and E minor. Okay, so what was the E minor? My ring finger was on 5 on the 5th string for D. Now my ring finger is going to glide up to 7 on the same string. That's the note E. 7 on the 5th string and 5 on the 4th string. 2 of the 3 notes of an E minor. So imagine you're in a band. Someone else in the band is doing the old-fashioned D major, and E minor. And you're going. Right? Complementary, what Keith Richards calls weaving, weaving 2 guitar parts together. Okay? So to reflect a major chord, you're sort of 1 fret apart. You could say like 5 and 4. To reflect a minor chord, 2 frets apart, 5 and 3. What do you think? There you go, power chord cousins. Oh, by the way, you could totally merge these with power chords. You could play a power chord to reflect one chord, and then this cousin to reflect the next chord in the song, right? Why not? Especially if it's your song, man. It's your song. Have some fun. So those of you who have an electric guitar handy, I mean, anybody can do this, but for sure, electric guitar players take advantage of little bite-sized things like this for 2 reasons. Volume is never an issue, because if you want to be louder, you just turn up louder, right? Whereas an acoustic guitar player might want to do 5 strings, 6 strings to make a bigger sound. Second of all, electric guitar players presumably are part of an ensemble. That's where you're going to find electric guitar most of the time, right? There's a bass player, maybe a keyboard player, a drummer, a singer. And being able to move all up and down the neck and find ways to contribute to the band and still be heard, and be able to hear yourself, pretty important as an electric guitar player. Whereas an acoustic guitar player might say, oh, I'm going to grab G and just strum G, because maybe you're the only instrument. Maybe you're playing the guitar and singing, or you're playing the guitar and someone else is singing, and you want to make those big, full 6-string sounds. Electric guitar player, that might not be their number one concern, right? They want to be able to hear themselves in the whole mix of people. And they might reflect a G chord by zipping way up the neck. I got 10 on the A string, 10 on the 5th string with my ring finger, and 9 on the D string with my middle finger. 2 of the 3 notes of a G major chord. Okay, there you go. A lesson you'll never forget, something I call power chord cousins. A to Z me is here in the chat. Watcher Dan says, Watcher Dan's been following me for years, even before I got gray hair. Well, here's something I don't tell everybody. I just do this to be taken more seriously. I'm actually getting younger, but I was told that if I put in a little gray before the show, that you guys might take me more seriously. I don't know. That's my story. I'm sticking with it. Okay, Watcher Dan says, I still can't play one song all the way through. However, over the years, he's bought 15 guitars, 5 amps, 12 effects pedals. I feel like I am a what? You didn't put the last word in. Watcher Dan, you are in good company. I think you are very welcome in this in this live stream. You are not the only one, I'm sure, who has played the guitar for years and has multiple instruments and amps and effects pedals. But we have to get you to play a song all the way through. Okay, that'll be part of my mission tonight. In fact, stick around, because in about 15 minutes or so, we'll do our guitar play along song of the week, and that maybe will be the first song you can play all the way through. Oh, you guys, now might be as good a time as any. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing that business right there, but I'm gonna start sharing something else. Hold on. See if I can get this list up quick. We've done so many of these play-alongs. Now, this list I'm about to share on the screen, this list might not be completely up to date. That's okay. But for people, including Watcher Dan, let's see that look. Yeah, excellent. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger, 100%. Okay, there we go. You guys see that okay? These are many of the songs that we have done here during our weekly play-along songs. Look at that. I'm not going to read them all because that would be annoying, and you guys can read them as well as I can. Look at all those songs, dozens and dozens of songs. You guys seen all those, okay? Dozens and dozens of songs that are relatively easy to play. And so if you feel like you cannot play a song all the way through, you cannot get a better list on planet Earth than this list right here. Assuming you want to learn popular songs in the English language, I'll stand by this list as the songs that are your best bet for learning a song all the way through. And see those numbers in parentheses? That's the live stream number where we featured that song. And I always do it about 1 hour into the live stream, give or take. So for instance, see Hey Joe right there. Hey Joe, live stream number 27. We did Hey Joe by Jimi Hendrix. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing that, but there we go. Now you know, man. So stick around, watch it, Dan, because we got a good one coming up this week. Scott says, during Jonathan's week off last week, Scott wrote and recorded a new Christmas song about getting back at Santa for not bringing what I want. There you go. Right? That's a new, it's not easy to come up with an original Christmas song. That sounds like an original Christmas song, right? Excellent, Scott. Very cool. Very cool. Love it. Let's check in with our poll results here. If you have not voted yet, don't be shy. The question is, what's on your holiday wish list? You're looking for a new guitar, a new amp, new effects, lessons, or maybe something else. Feel free to put something else in the chat. YouTube here in the live stream, it limits me to only 4 choices in the poll. So very interesting results. Oh, you guys, I did not see this coming. New amp. Nobody wants a new amp. Really? Okay. I kind of do want a new amp, although my amp is fine. 15% would like some new effects. 27% would like a new guitar. Only 27%. And by far, the leader at the moment, 58% are voting for lessons. 58% of you would like guitar lessons for Christmas or for Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever you might celebrate. 58% of you would choose lessons. Very cool. How cool are you guys? Okay. Watcher Dan. Okay, we're clarifying. Watcher Dan, you do know a song all the way through. Hey Joe. Excellent. All right. Well, the first one's the hardest. I mean that sincerely. The first one's the hardest. And then they get easier. They get easier. The songs don't get easier. You get better, right? Especially, I'm very proud of that list I put up there. If the songs are all basically the same level of difficulty, which those ones on that list are, then there's no reason why the second, third, fourth songs shouldn't feel easier to you because of the skills you're getting, Hey, before we do our play along song of the week, how about a little show and tell? I told you, I got my Love of Fuzz t-shirt on right there. What is Love of Fuzz? Very cool guitar store in hold on here, in Troy, New York. As you know, mom and pop guitar stores have a tough time competing, right? They're competing with Amazon, they're competing with Sweetwater, they're competing with the internet in general, reverb.com, right? So one, I would say, wise move is for them to take trade-ins and sell a lot of gear on consignment, right? So I traded in a pickup and I got a cool pedal. Ooh, this amp that I have down here on the floor does not have reverb. Well, you got to have reverb. So they had this very cool pedal used, and I got it thanks to trading in this pickup. Okay, so a TC Electronic Hall of Fame reverb. I read some reviews, got good reviews. This is the original one. I believe there's an updated version of it, but original is good enough for me. Very cool. So tonight, if you hear a little of that echoey sound that we know and love, you are hearing the TC Electronic Hall of Fame reverb. I believe I'm using the setting that's actually called Hall, and but there's about 9 different settings you can use, and then you can tweak each one a little bit. Very fun. So now my life is complete. I have reverb. All right. Sounds good. Sounds good. Now I have reverb. Come on. Oh, we got to plug it in. Okay. Oh, that reminds me. I got a little bit of an education. I got the pedal, brought it home, put in a brand new battery. It worked great. Next time I went to play it, a couple of days later, it worked, and all of a sudden, it didn't work. It didn't turn on anymore. Uh-oh, alarm, alarm, alarm. Wrote a quick little email. TJ from Love of Fuzz got right back to me, and he said, a digital pedal like that one needs so much power that you can't count on a 9-volt battery to have enough power to power it. So yeah, as soon as I plugged it into the wall, with an adapter, it worked consistently just fine all the time. So now I know, part of my education. Yeah, so I like it just fine. And the price was right because I only had to throw an extra $20 once I traded in what I traded in. So yeah, it worked out great. I'm trying to keep it a little subtle. I don't want to necessarily sound like I'm in one of the Great Pyramids or something. So, okay, my friends, how about check? I'm going to check this off. So if you happen to be in upstate New York, in the greater Albany area, the capital, what do they call it? The capital region, the capital area. Albany is the capital of New York State, right? I highly recommend Love of Fuzz, Troy, New York. And of course, they have a reverb page and a website and all that kind of stuff. Good stuff, good service. And the fun thing about walking into a mom and pop store, especially the better ones, is a Capital District. Chris says, thank you, Chris. You have no idea, like they have such a huge variety of used stuff because people have traded in stuff or they've found gear, however they found gear, as opposed to say Guitar Center, right, which has a lot of Epiphones, a lot of Squires, a lot of familiar stuff, not necessarily bad stuff, just you kind of know what you're going to get. At mom and pop place, holy cow, you just have no idea what's going to be there. And that just makes it fun, even if you're just looking at their reverb page. It's fun to see what they got going on. And if they take trade-ins and you've got stuff around that you're not using or you're ready to upgrade or something, yeah, very fun. Okay, so my friends, student quote. Let's get the student quote of the week. Actually, I had a bunch of students say interesting things this week, and I'm a dummy because I think, that would be the student quote of the week, and I don't write it down fast enough, and 40 minutes later I've forgotten it. But today, a young man, he earned himself the student quote of the week. He's 5. He and I are exploring music together. Little piano, little drums, little guitar. He looks at me and he goes, "Why are your eyes red?" Yeah. Yep. You can count on kids just to say stuff with no filter, Adults, they're not going to ask questions like that. Adults are going to ask questions about, how to play their instrument. Kids are just going to look at you and they probably have a lot of questions. They just say what's on their mind. Why? I don't know. It's a good question, kid. I don't know why my eyes are red. I don't know. There you go. Student quote of the week. Should I sell out? I could sell out during a whole live stream. It could involve different moments where I try to sell you something. So a couple, in the last few weeks, a couple offers that I got might interest you. Should I sell out? Should I try to sell you guys, quote, fashionable and comfortable footwear? Or would you buy from me a portable tire inflator, an air pump? These are the things I've been offered to sell to you. Still not going to sell out, but that day could come. An air pump or shoes. And if you are wondering what that has to do with guitar lessons, nothing. It has nothing. That's the point. These people reach out to me and the emails say, we're big fans of your content. You are really doing something. We make shoes. Shouldn't you sell some shoes? Music Fan says, what I should have said to that young man was, teaching piano makes me cry. Next time, I don't know. You never know what kids are going to say. Okay. We'll get to our play along song in about 2 more minutes. Who's in town this week? I'll tell you who's in town. I don't know if this is a unique thing to Connecticut or the East Coast, but the theater across the street, the whole month of December, Every other show is Irish music, which is great. Eileen Ivers, one of the best Irish fiddle players, she came through town at the beginning of the month, as did the Celtic Tenors. They came through town. Coming up this week, it's a sold-out show, but Cherish the Ladies, veteran Irish musicians, have been around for many years. Cherish the Ladies, the show is sold out, but they're coming through this week. In about a week, Irish Christmas in America. That's the 4th Irish show this month here. Not to be outdone, Enter the Haggis. Enter the Haggis is coming through. Now, they may be a Scottish group. Haggis isn't Haggis a Scottish thing? But that makes 5 acts that are Irish, Scottish, all in the month of December. 6 if you count the U2 tribute band that's coming through at the very end of December. What is it about December and Irish music? I don't know. You guys seeing this where you live? And I love Irish music, and I welcome all these people to December in Connecticut. But, whoa, that's a lot of Irish music in December. So there you go. That's who's in town this week. All right, you ready to do this guitar play along? You will need, well, if you have a capo, and if you consider yourself a beginner, then you grab your capo. You're going to need your capo at the 3rd fret. You do not have to use a capo. You can play this song in the more advanced version. Okay, bear with me. Here comes, I'm not going to say the title. I'm not going to say the title because I enjoy making the bots work a little harder before they demonetize me. Okay, our play along song of the week. Okay, there it is right there. Okay, if you can't see it, give it a minute and you'll see this on your screen. Our play along this week, famous tune. So take a look at what we have there. You can see why I would choose this song as our guitar play along. This song is a 3-chord song, and the vast majority of the song is 2 chords back and forth. Okay, so let's make this quick so we can get into it. And we'll talk about some lead guitar stuff in a second. Okay, if G minor and C, and especially G minor, if G minor is not something you're comfortable with, you've never played it before, you don't know what to do, don't worry. Grab your capo. Capo at the 3rd fret, and you'll be playing an E minor to an A, right? An E minor to an A. Do I have my capo? I do. Okay, so some of you are going to be most comfortable capoing this song up. Capo behind the 3rd fret. If you don't have a capo, use that Sweetwater link in the chat to get yourself a capo. Get a good one. Plan on spending $20. Don't go for the cheapest one. This makes things a lot easier. The capo's at the 3rd fret. I'm doing E minor for 2 strums, A for 2 strums, E minor and A over and over again. E minor and A, E minor, A. When the lyrics say, this can't go on, right on the word on, that's when you get that B7 chord, on, for 5 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lord knows you got to change. And on the word change, you're back to that E minor to A. If you don't want to capo up, you're good to go. G minor to C. You can do G minor as a bar chord, although I'm going to show you some other options. But you could do G minor as a bar chord and C as a neighboring bar chord right there. Bar at 3 and the E minor bar chord shape. I'm trying to get my middle finger out of the shot there. And then maintain that bar at 3. I'm flattening out my pinky for the C chord. There's a C bar chord. That's known as the A major shape right there. If this is completely foreign to you, then you're the right person to put the capo on at the 3rd fret and do the E minor and A. D7, do D7 however you want. My favorite D7 is a C7 chord up 2 frets. Right? It's a C chord. Put your pinky 3rd string 3rd fret, and then move that whole thing up 2 frets. Avoid the 2 outside strings. Do not play the fat string. Do not play the skinny string. Just play the 4 inside strings. And there's your D7 chord. Okay, what you're looking at on the screen, I will put that back on the screen in a second. Check this out. I'm going to go up a little bit. Okay, take a look at that, my friends. Can you see that? Okay. Look at all those other ways of playing. There we go. See that? All those other ways of playing G minor and C and D7. I don't expect all of you to memorize everything on that screen right there, right? You could do a screen grab right now if you're comfortable doing a screen grab on your computer, or you can just come back to this moment in the video. Within, you guys, what, 15 minutes of the end of this live stream, you can watch it again on YouTube, and we're about at the 1 hour point, right? So real quick, the 3 G minors, little bar and the 3 skinny strings, that's a G minor. What I would call the D minor shape, but up at 6, 7, and 8. That's a G minor. And then way up at 10, 11, and 12, also a G minor chord. Whichever one of those you pick, you want to go to a C that's close by, because you know how repetitive that was, right? The G minor to C minor to C major. It happens over and over again with no time in between. So you want to choose a G minor and a C that are close to each other. For example, C, that 3, 5, 5, that's a C chord. How about C just as a 1 finger grab at the 5th fret? It's as if we did an A major chord with 1 finger. There's my A major. I'm doing it with 1 finger. I'm just gliding up to the 5th fret. You know? Ooh, I see a mistake. That last C is a C minor. We do not want that C minor. See how it says 8, 8, 8? That last, it should be 8, 8, 9. I'll fix that in the description of this video. And then D7, that first D7, that's the one I was talking about. But you can also do a D7 at the 7th and 8th frets. And one of my absolute favorite chords of all time, or chord grips. See that last one on the bottom right-hand corner, 10, 11, 10 on the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th strings. It's going to feel just like a D major chord. It even looks like a D major chord, but it's on the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th strings. So Evil Ways, I said the name, is a good exercise in moving around between these chords. And again, you got to choose wisely, because you got to get to these chords quickly. So you want to choose chords that are in the vicinity of each other. Then again, you put on the original version, crank it up nice and loud, and they've got it. You don't have to constantly strum. You could do G minor and C, like 1 strum on each. Because the band is going to keep going, you know, while you sort of complement what they're doing. Okay, you get the idea. Now, one more thing, and then we'll start this. And that is those of you who want to play some lead guitar along with this. Ooh, look at this. You could use the G minor pentatonic and throw in a few bluesy notes. 3, 6, 3, 4, 5, 3, 5, 3, 5, 6, 3, 6, 3, 6, right? It's going to fit the song great. I put parentheses around the bluesy notes just to, you know, just to make it clear that those are special notes. But the G Dorian mode, see that G Dorian mode? Ooh, the G Dorian mode is an F major scale. Just come back here. An F major scale, just higher up with an emphasis on the G note. Okay, so that 10 in parentheses is the note F. See those letters at the bottom of the page? But we're in the world of G minor. So the F is nice, but the next note, G12 on the G string, that's our tonal center. That's what makes something a mode, as opposed to just a major scale. A mode is a major scale, but you focus in on some other note, not the first note. By definition, the Dorian mode, by definition, is a major scale with a second note of the scale. The second note is a note that we want to, the note that is the center of the song. If you want a solo, you want to keep track of that note. That ring the bells. You know, different song, I know, but so you're still working with what feels and looks like a major scale, but by focusing on the note G in this case, that 12 or that 15 on the skinny E string, you are brainwashing, for lack of a better term. You're brainwashing the listener into not hearing a major scale anymore. You're into hearing what now you know is called the Dorian mode. And the performer here, Carlos, is, to my knowledge, is one of the more famous guitarists to use the Dorian mode as part of his style, more than his peers. Okay, you ready to do this? I'm going to put this back on the screen right there. Okay, because no matter what, there we go. The chord changes are the number one thing that's going on here, right? Whether you are, no matter how you're going to play this right now with me, you can't lose track of the chord changes. Okay, the first two chords, E minor to A, if you're capoed up, G minor to C, happen over and over again. How many times do they repeat? Don't worry about it. The goal is not to count 24 times or whatever and then go on to the next chord, like whether it's B7 or D7. The goal is to know the song so well that you know when it's time to go to B7 or D7, right? Just a little tough love. That is actually the smart and efficient way to ultimately add this song to your repertoire, not by playing and counting to yourself once, twice, 13, right? You know, you'd be counting forever. Meanwhile, the song is going on, and yeah. So now those of you, it's totally possible some of you have never heard this song before, and then you're at a disadvantage, because how would you possibly know when it's time to go to the B7 if you're capable, or D7 you're not capable? That's it. But if you like the song, then you listen to the original, you get a feel for it, and trust me, you can really feel when that seventh chord comes in. Okay, not a whole lot of lyrics to this. I'm going to vamp on the G minor to C, right? I'm going to vamp on that. You guys are welcome to solo a little bit. Maybe we'll do the first verse and chorus. I'll vamp a little more on the G minor C. We'll do another verse and chorus. Call it a day. Anything else? I'm going to wet my whistle, and I think we'll go. I'll see you on the other side. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4. You got to change your evil ways, baby, before I stop loving you. You got to change, baby. Every word that I say is true. You got me running and hiding all over town. You got me sneaking and peeping, running you down. It can't go on. Lord knows you got to change. Oh, when I come home, baby, house is dark and the pots are cold. You're hanging around, baby. Gin and Joan and who knows who. I'm getting tired of waiting, of fooling around. I find somebody that won't make me feel like a clown. It can't go on. Lord knows you got to change. Lord knows you gotta change. All right, kind of a short one, right? How'd you do? Okay. I am remembering a very cool thing that happens. And on the original recording, there's a moment when the organ comes in with a solo, right? And I've always thought this was so cool. The organ starts a solo on a note that's not in either the G minor or the C chord. And it's so cool because it gets your attention. Next time you hear the recording, I'm going to illustrate this with 5 on the skinny first string, A. That note A is definitely not in a G minor chord. And to start your solo intentionally on that note is just the coolest thing. You know, it's a jazzy kind of attention getter. So a little bit of trivia there. What happens after that is whatever you want to call it, diatonic. It's, you know, it's like what hopefully some of you guys are doing with a G Dorian or G minor pentatonic, a few blues notes. But to start the solo on an A during the G minor chord, so now is that a target note? If you do it on purpose, it is. You know, a target note has to do with an intentional, having intention. You know, whoever that organ player was, I'm sorry, I don't know who it was. That was intentional. There's no way that was a mistake. Bang! That's how you start your solo. Yeah, that was intentional. What a cool way to start a solo. So we talked about target notes earlier. You know, when I teach target notes, I tend to emphasize playing the root note, targeting the root note, because it's so satisfying. You can't go wrong. I joke it's like wearing a blue shirt and blue pants. There we go. You match, right? So, you know, that's what playing a root note in effect. That's the fashion metaphor of the night. Playing an A is like a blue shirt and an ostrich. I'm wearing a blue shirt and an ostrich. Hey, as long as you're owning that ostrich, man, that's great. You know, there you go. Okay, so you guys good with that? With Eva Ways? Okay, add that to your list. I'm going to add it to my list. I'm going to stop sharing here. Okay, so I'm going to take a breath for a minute. As I always say, I am here for your questions. Maybe you have a question about Eva Ways. By the way, especially those of you who are playing it with a capo, E minor and A and the B7. A beautiful thing about playing a song with a capo is you are immediately in a world where you could change the key to fit your own voice or whoever is singing with you. You've already got the capo on the 3rd fret. You want to sing it lower, just back it up to the 2nd fret or 1st fret or no frets. You want to sing higher, obviously. You go up higher with the capo. But once the capo's on and you're comfortable playing the tune, then finding a key that fits the singer's voice or your voice, it's kind of a no-brainer, right? Hopefully you don't have to get the capo up too high, but kind of fun to do. To learn a song with a capo and then fine-tune it to fit your voice, you know. Scott Rhodes says, true story, I dreamt about playing a Santana song last night. When someone asked me to do a song about Santa, I get it. In your dream, they asked for Santa and you played Santana. Hey, you know what? Not a bad choice. Not a bad choice. Okay, so don't be shy. Ladies and gentlemen, keep the questions coming in. You know how we use the Dorian mode just then as one of the options for lead guitar? We'll be talking about modes more in a little bit when we talk about recycling scales, specifically about taking a major scale and making some other note your focus, your your tonal center. I love that phrase, tonal center. So if you're curious about scales and modes, don't go away. I want to say hi to my mom. My mom is often watching these live streams. Hi, Mom. Hope you're well. Hope you're staying warm. We got some cold weather here on the East Coast. It's all right. We can handle it. It's not as cold as some places, I know. But it's cold enough. Cold enough. You know, when you turn the key and the motor starts and you're like, you're a little bit extra grateful. In the summertime, you don't think about it. In the wintertime, you don't take it for granted, you know. I don't. Oh well. Hey, if we take a moment and talk about two things. Why you might be interested in the Christmas songbook and Tuba Christmas. Those of you who are not aware of Tuba Christmas, or even those of you who are, I think you'll get a kick out of some information I'm going to share with you. Okay. This book is available to you. I know a bunch of you already have this book, and I thank you. If you do not have a copy of this book, you get it from my website. It's an electronic book. You can download it instantly, and then choose to print out one song at a time, print out the whole thing. Don't print out any of it, save a tree, and just, you know, use it on your computer. And I'm going to choose First Noel. I don't know, why not the First Noel? Here's what the book is. 31 Christmas classics, each presented 3 ways. The first way, and I'm going to use First Noel as an example. Right? Simple melody. Looks like that. Easy peasy, right? Good for beginners, people who are still getting used to reading tab. You can't go wrong, right? Okay. Second way each song is presented, chords. What if you want to play and sing, or you're doing some Christmas caroling, and a lot of people want to sing, and your job is really just to play the chords. The first Noel, la da 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 da, say, da 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 da, in fields as they lay, da da dum. So the strumming, by the way, all the lyrics are included on every page. 3 chords, G, C, D, 7, and a nice strum pattern. And trust me, the strum patterns are really straightforward strum patterns. In this case, boom, chick, chick, boom, chick, chick. So if that is your scenario, you are going to sing, someone else is going to sing, and all the guitar has to do is just keep a nice, steady strum pattern going on the chords. There you go. Before I get to the third version, say you get this book, you print out the chords, and you print out that easy melody thing I just did. One person play that melody while the other person plays the chords. Of course, I made sure they're in the same key. Of course, you can turn it into a duet, easy peasy, right? So that's also a little added value to the book. You can totally do it as a duet. Okay, the third thing you get from this book is each song presented as a chord melody. In essence, you're mixing the first 2 things. You're mixing the melody in with chord tones like this. All right, so we could hear the melody in there. There's no doubt that it's the First Noel, but we're playing it a lot like how a piano player would approach it. Essentially like one hand playing chords on the piano while the other hand plays the melody on the piano. We don't have the luxury of 2, different sections of a piano like a piano player does. So we do it all kind of all mixed together. The chord melody approach to playing a song. A little more advanced, but you guys can do it. It's not that hard. You can do it. that approach is like if someone hired me to play Christmas music in a coffee shop and sit there for an hour on a Sunday and just play quiet music while people have their coffee. That's exactly what I would do. I would just bring that book and just play 31 chord melody arrangements just like that. Okay, so for those of you who celebrate Christmas, who want to get something going for this Christmas, it's not too late. Head over to www.song-bike.com, and there's a whole bunch of stuff there, including the Christmas songbook. And of course, there's a video that shows my hands playing all those songs as well. I think the video is just on YouTube. I don't think you even have to pay anything to see the video. But it's whatever it says in the website, I forget now. But I think the video is just on YouTube. It's just me playing 31 songs, you know. Oh, I think on the video, I overdubbed the melody on top of the chord strumming as if I were, you know, two guitar players. So I didn't just do the melody and just do the strumming. I did them both, plus the chord melody version. Okay, anyways, there you go. www.song-bike.com. And you can download it instantly. I'm going to put that website in the address. While I'm doing this, Tuba Christmas. Has anybody out there heard of Tuba Christmas? I cannot be the only person who's heard of Tuba Christmas. Tuba Christmas, it's if it hasn't already come through your area, it is on its way. It's exactly what it sounds like. How many things in life are exactly what they sound like? Tuba Christmas is. Okay, and what I found, which made me so happy, was that Tuba Christmas, okay, I'm going to share the screen here. They are organized, man. Check out this website. Share. Okay. There you go. Everybody see that okay? There it is. Tuba Christmas. Tuba's playing Christmas songs. And this is, I believe it's global. It certainly is happening all over the US. Maybe first learn more. Okay. There is about attend. I'm going to, somewhere on here was a, doesn't this have it? Okay, I'm gonna grab another one. Bear with me, folks. Because there was one thing I went to, come on back here, where they you could click on a map and see attend, but could it be this? Find a Tuba Christmas. Oh, there we go. Okay. I know you can't believe your eyes, right? Okay, so maybe it's not maybe it's not global. I'm going to make this bigger in a second. Maybe it's not totally global. I'm going to zoom in. There we go. Look at those are all Tuba Christmases, my friends. Look at all that. So those of you in the US at least, those are all the Tuba Christmases. Looks like we got a few others around the oh wow, hold on. Oh, that's the same thing. For a second there, I thought it was more global. Okay, so in case you're curious, am I crazy? Yeah, a little bit crazy. Here's a map of Connecticut, and that one, that's the one that happened today. New Britain. I missed it. That's okay. That's okay. Tuba Christmas, my friends. I'm gonna put this link in the chat because it just makes me happy. There we go. Tuba Christmas. Tuba's playing Christmas songs, and I believe it's really open to any performer. I think if you own a tuba, you're welcome. You know, there you go. DAC, you like that? DAC poet. Tuba Christmas. And I'm pretty sure that they do allow other low brass instruments. If you're only a simple trombone player, they let you they let it slide. They let you join in. Tuba Christmas. Makes me happy. All right, my friends. I'm just checking out the chat to see what you guys are talking about. Watcher Dan, you feel like you can do evil ways now? Excellent. Excellent. Very good. Okay. Excellent. All right. How are we doing in our poll? Let's check out what's happening in the poll here. What is on your holiday wish list? Okay, 6%. And getting a new amp, we're up to 6%. New effects up to 19%. A new guitar, 28%. But still far in the lead, 47% are saying, I really want lessons. Well, I'm here to teach you lessons you'll never forget. But of course, I'm going to 100% recommend that you guys find local teachers in your area and take advantage of them, because teachers are out there, and they might be closer than you think. You never know. I taught a handful of lessons today, but my first student couldn't make it, and my last student couldn't make it for various reasons. And you know what? That made my day kind of consolidated, and that's okay sometimes. So, okay, my friends. Can we talk about the Grammy Awards? I'll make this fast, but oh man, 5 Grammy nominees. Actually, at least one of them has won Grammys in the past. But there's 5, and a lot of these are, well, they don't all involve guitar, but they're all such good music. Holy moly. Okay, 5 Grammy nominees. For those of you who don't know my little obsession here, so many talented people are nominated for Grammys, and some of them even get Grammys, but you never hear about them in the biggest media because they're not the big pop stars. Nothing against big pop stars. Good for them. I'm sure their parents are very proud. But there's so much talent out there. If you scroll down through the nominees and you get into categories such as best Latin jazz album, best contemporary instrumental album, etc. Oh man! So for the past few live streams, I've been sharing some people that I've discovered, or maybe some people I knew about a little bit, or maybe I was more familiar, and then a few that I had never heard of. Holy cow! Okay, so I'll make this quick. One of the nominees for best new artist from Houston, Texas. Let's hear it for Khruangbin. I'm a big fan of Khruangbin. Khruangbin is the Thai word for airplane. Khruangbin. And I'm going to put a link to one of their live performances in the description of this video. Khruangbin from Houston, Texas is up for best new artist. I love their sound. Very cool guitar playing with lots of reverb and just a great groove. I listen to Khruangbin a lot. Okay, young woman up for 2 Grammys for Best Jazz Performance and Best Jazz Vocal Album. What a voice. She's only 25 years old. Let's hear it from the Bronx, Samara Joy. Samara Joy has won Grammys previously for Best New Artist, by the way. But specifically, she's up for Best Jazz Performance for a song that you might associate with the Supremes or Stevie Wonder, a song called Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Me. But she also is up for Best Jazz Vocal Album, A Joyful Holiday. By the way, if you're looking for some holiday music, why not get Samara Joy's album called A Joyful Holiday? She has a new album out in 2024, but I guess that's not the one she's nominated for. Anyways, she's terrific. What a voice. You ready for a couple more? Up for Best Jazz Instrumental Album, Sullivan Fortner. From New Orleans, Sullivan has perfect pitch. Sullivan got a bachelor's degree from Oberlin College, Oberlin Conservatory, and got a master's from Manhattan College of Music. Beautiful jazz piano, man. Sullivan Fortner. The album is called Solo Game. I think it's all solo piano. Up for Best Jazz Instrumental Album. Highly recommend it. These guys are so good. Up for Best Latin Jazz Album, Michelle Camillo, and a guitar player who goes by the name Tomatito. Oh, so good. Tomatito. The album that's nominated for Best Latin Jazz Album is called Spain Forever Again. And I was thinking about you guys as I chose which video link to include. It's piano and guitar, no other instrument, just piano and guitar playing together. Oh, it's beautiful stuff. I mean, really, really, really beautiful stuff. Michelle, Camillo, and Tomatito. Tomatito, I learned, in general, half of what he does is improvised. In general, that's sort of the way he thinks. And he's a big user of the Phrygian mode. And I thought, ooh, let's talk about the Phrygian mode in our lesson today. So in a minute, we'll talk about the Phrygian mode. He also tunes his guitar in a weird sort of way. From fat to skinny, D-A-D, G, B flat, D. Very interesting. D-A-D, G, B flat, D. I'll put that in the description of this video. Okay, and one more Grammy nominee, gentleman from California, up for Best Contemporary Instrumental Album. At 15, he was teaching at Stanford University as part of the Stanford Jazz Workshop at 15 years old. I'm going to tell you how to mispronounce his last name. His first name is Taylor. You probably don't pronounce his last name as Agsty. Not even close. Not even close. But Taylor, oh man, he has an album called Plot Armor, P-L-O-T, Plot Armor, like a knight in shining armor, Plot Armor. So the video I posted is of him playing. He's a pianist, but there's a guitar, bass, drums, another keyboard player. Just beautiful, beautiful stuff, man. Just so there's 5. A little bit of jazz, a little bit of Latin jazz, some vocal, some instrumental, plenty of instrumental stuff. Just beautiful stuff. So everything I just described, there'll be links to that stuff in the description of this live stream. Basically, when we wrap up in about half an hour or so, I take a minute and drop in a bunch of those links. Just beautiful. It's inspiring. I mean, that. If I had to choose one word, inspiring. Just talented people. Some of them are on the younger side. Some of them are vintage. Beautiful stuff. A lot of young people, though. Actually, younger than me. So much talent out there. Okay, so you guys know I have this fantasy about an alternative broadcast of the Grammys, right? Where maybe the night before, the big Grammy broadcast in February, maybe the night before, I'm just imagining a broadcast featuring some of these people, and they each do a song, even just one song. And I think it would have an effect culturally on our country, on our world. I want to believe that if we as a culture, as human beings, if we only knew how much talent was out there, just beautiful, beautiful stuff. I think that would have an effect. I think it would make the world a better place. I mean, the music is already making the world a better place, but if it got the spotlight it deserved, I think that would make the world a better place. Okay, Beginner Guitar Lessons is reminding everybody to hit the like button. Yeah, go ahead and hit that like button. Why not? We got 32 viewers at the moment, so why not get 32 likes? Thanks, Beginner Guitar Lessons, for encouraging everybody. Hey, Michael Fisher is asking, has anyone tried out a Donner guitar, the Donner DST 550? I'm debating whether or not to make a Donner party joke. Like when the Donner company has a party, is it called the Donner party? It's not really funny. You can Google it, Donner party. I don't know. Yeah. I saw a meme recently. It's just a guy standing at a bar and it said self-employed Christmas party. It's a guy standing at a bar with a beer. Like, yeah. Yep. I'm self-employed. I'm here for your questions, my friends. Don't forget, I consider this live stream to be a weapon of mass instruction. That's right. I said it. So if you have a question, put it in the chat. Don't forget to put a couple question marks in advance of your question. That's how I know your question is aimed at me. Joseph, you like that? It is in poor taste. But when has that ever stopped anybody from doing anything? I don't know. So I clicked on a little clickbait thing where it was David Letterman telling a Bob Dylan story. I like David Letterman. I like Bob Dylan. So I want to hear David Letterman telling a Bob Dylan story. It was only posted recently, I think in the last week or something like that. And David Letterman is talking about, he was having a 10th anniversary late night show and invited all these special guests, and he invited Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan came out and did Like a Rolling Stone. And David Letterman said, man, it was so crazy because you couldn't understand what Bob Dylan was singing. And it was like, you know, David Letterman felt frustrated, felt, you know, not as good as he wanted to feel, because here's Bob Dylan doing Like a Rolling Stone on stage with a great band. And the backup singers included Mavis Staples, Nancy Griffith, Michelle Schacht, Emmylou Harris. How could I forget Emmylou Harris? I mean, it's a great band. So I thought, well, I want to see this clip of. So I find the Bob Dylan clip of him sing. You can Google it or look it up on YouTube. David Letterman 10th anniversary show, Bob Dylan live. Okay, I'm a Bob Dylan fan. Cake on the floor, right? A to Z me, yeah. It was such a good performance. It's so good. I mean, assuming you know the lyrics to Like a Rolling Stone, yeah, you can understand all the lyrics just fine. Maybe David Letterman was in the wrong, I don't know. It's so good. It's so good. The background singers seem, Carole King on piano. Carole King is having a ball. Her hair's like, you know, if you know Carole King, you know she's got some hair, man. She's like rocking on the piano. Two drummers. One of them is Jim Keltner, who goes back, you know, a little ways with Bob Dylan. But there's two drummers. The band is good. His singing is great. But the whole thing, I don't know, man, I got to watch it again. Just a little ways in, it seems to like elevate a little bit. It's so good. I'm sorry, Mr. Letterman. I don't know. He had I don't know. I mean, is it possible that, well, maybe what I watch now was not the live feed. Maybe it was a feed from the board, and I don't know. It's so good. And like maybe Staple, she can't hold back. And about 2/3 of the way in, the background singers seem to be holding back. And then Mavis Staples can't hold back anymore, and she starts singing, and then the other background singers get into it. I recommend it. So I don't know, man. That's kind of weird that would happen, right? You click on something, you hear, ooh, this negative thing, and then you watch it, and it's a million times better than I was led to believe. Oh, it's so good. I don't know. There's that Bob Dylan movie coming out on Christmas, Complete Unknown. And it's getting amongst the Bob Dylan fans that I, you know, see on social media. I think a few of them have seen some advanced version of it, the premiere or something like that. I don't know. And they're saying it's good. So I don't know. A to Z me, it sounded good, right? His performance, I don't know. I like David Letterman just fine. But something, I can imagine a scenario where if you're on the side of the stage, or if you don't know the lyrics, I mean, it really helps to know the lyrics, right? Because then you know, you make that connection. But I can imagine a scenario where anybody is getting a different, you know, experience because they're on the side of the stage, or they're whatever, backstage or whatever. And they're thinking, what the heck is going on? And maybe by the time we all watch it in 2024, maybe things have been remixed, mastered. I mean, I don't know. Who am I to argue with David Letterman? It's just a really, really, really good performance. Holy cow. In my opinion. Okay. Hey, let's talk about the Phrygian scale. I told you I would teach you a lesson you never forget. Well, we're just getting started. Okay. There it is right there. I don't know about you guys, but I'm really enjoying sharing the screen with you guys. And here it comes. And then we're both looking at this thing right here. Oh, look at that. Oh, can you guys see that okay? I hope you can, because it looks so great to me. By the way, super chat donations. When you make super chat donations, I'm telling you guys, look how clear that black pen is. I went to the dollar store. See that? $1.25 for 3. See how one is missing? That's because that pen, that's the pen right there that made that look so crisp and clean and good. Listen, when you guys make super chat donations, I take it seriously, man. Pens, paper, I get them. That's what I do, you know? Okay. So, okay, my clickbait kind of title for this segment is recycling scales. You take a scale and you repurpose it. For that song by Carlos, we did the F major scale. We repurposed it, recycled it as the G Dorian mode, right? An F major scale with the emphasis on the G note. You still play all the same notes, but you keep coming back to that G and it gets a certain vibe, a certain sound. Okay. When I read that Tomatito nominated for, when I see it here, nominated for Best Latin Jazz Album with Michel Camillo, did I tell you the name? The name of the album is Spain Forever Again. That's the name of the album, Spain Forever Again. When I saw on Wikipedia that Tomatito relied heavily on the Phrygian scale as part of his style, I thought, okay, let's make that the example for recycling scales. Okay, so what do you see on the screen there in front of you? You see the C major scale, which contains, so to speak, the E Phrygian mode, just like the F major scale contained within it. It contained the G Dorian mode. And then you have a little exercise at the bottom of the screen there. Okay, so what's going on? The Phrygian mode. You take a major scale and you make the third note of the scale your focus. So what I did there in the tab under the name C major scale is I started off with notes that technically are part of the C major scale: 6th string 0, 1, 3, 5th string 0, 2. But then right in the middle, I put sort of the proper 1 octave C major scale. There we go. There's your 1 octave C major scale. And then I did a couple more notes, not only because those are 2 more notes if we extended the scale, not only that, but I wanted to make sure that very last open skinny E string, I want to make sure we include that because remember, E is going to be our focus here, right? We're taking the C major scale, which is all those notes, everything from the, it's all those notes. It includes all those notes, right? But we're going to make E our focus. So obviously any E on that tab, whether it's the fat E, the skinny E, or the 4th string 2nd fret, any of those E's are now going to be very valuable to us, right? In music, value is a helpful word. There's lots of notes in music. We value the right note at the right time, right? So why would we want to use the Phrygian mode? It gets a nice minor sound. If a song is based on an E minor chord, the E Phrygian mode is going to sound very cool. And again, what is the E Phrygian mode? It's a C scale. It's a C scale where E is our focus. Okay, so in a moment, I'm going to do that thing at the bottom. I'm going to strum an E minor chord 4 times. And then for the same 4 clicks, I'm going to improvise a little bit using those notes. And then I'm going to change to A minor. And then I'm going to improvise. Okay, we'll get into that in a minute. So there you go. Is this a trick? Totally is a trick. You only have to learn one thing, the C major scale. And then you have the E Phrygian mode. That's all. That's all. You know, questions, comments? The Dorian mode from the song by Carlos that we did earlier, that Dorian mode, the 2nd note of the major scale is our focus. The Phrygian mode, the 3rd note of the scale is our focus. That's all, you know. Anytime you ever hear anyone talk about any mode, the Locrian mode, the Mixolydian, the Aeolian mode, it just means a different note in the scale is the focus. By the way, if the first note is the focus, like a regular C major scale, there's even a name for that. It's called the Ionian mode. It just means play it, and you know, where the note C is the focus. A C major scale where C is the most important note. Okay, so Why did they have to give that one an alternative name like that? Like calling it C major scale is not enough. Now they call it the C Ionian mode. I don't know why, but there you go. Okay, so starting now, if you have never heard of a mode, or if you've heard of it and you thought, that's that weird music theory stuff, that's not my thing, that all changes now, right? It all changes now. And how can you sort of make your peace with it? What we're about to do. And by the way, those of you who are songwriters, you could write a song. The melody could be based on the Phrygian mode. And you have my 100% permission to write a song using E minor and A minor. In fact, I'll give you an example in a minute of how you can, that could be your verse and the chorus could be something else, or the bridge could be something else. I'll give you an idea in a second. Okay, so you're welcome to do this along with me. It's also good just to listen to it because it's going to give you this vibe, what I would call a minor kind of vibe. So again, I'm going to strum E minor 4 times. I'm going to solo a little bit for 4 beats using this whole C major scale thing. A minor, 4 counts, solo again. To the best of my ability, during those little solo sections, I'm going to make some E note my primary focus. Could be this E here, could be this E here, skinny string E, or it could be, let's call that one the middle E. I have a feeling I'm going to be focusing on that one a lot. Okay, no more talking. Here I go. 2, 3, 4. Okay, get the idea there, right? Bouncing back and forth. Questions? Comments? Wingo, yeah, I forgot it though, Wingo. You're asking a good question. How do you remember this, the 7 modes? There is a thing for like Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian. There's a cute little mnemonic for that. Someone told me just recently. Was one of you guys? Was it you beginning guitar lessons? If it was you beginning guitar lessons, remind me what that was. A way to remind yourself of the order of the modes, the mode that focuses on the first note of the scale, the mode that centers on the second note of the scale, and so on. I forgot what it was. Is that it, DAC Poet? I don't particularly like modes a lot. That's it. Okay. So that's what you have to, literally, that's the mnemonic. I don't particularly like modes a lot. Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian. For those of you who are just listening, Phrygian is spelled with a PH at the beginning. Like is Lydian. Modes is Mixolydian. A is Aeolian. Lot is Locrian. I don't particularly like modes a lot. Thank you, DAC Poet. Okay. Those of you who are interested in writing a song with this minor kind of vibe based on E minor and A minor, if it doesn't fit your voice, just capo up, What other chords? As you know, most songs have 3 chords, 4 chords. Most songs have a couple sections, right? Verse, chorus, bridge. So what else you are, quote, quote, allowed to do and still be in this E Phrygian mode? Any chord that you would normally play in the key of C. For instance, the C major chord, C, F, G, D minor. Let's stay with those 4 chords, the 4 extra chords, C, F, G, and D minor. Now, the problem is, let's say what we just did there, that's the verse of your song, E minor to A minor, back and forth. That's enough for a verse. You can do a lot with E minor and A minor. If the next section of your song uses a legal chord, like say a C, clearly now we've done all this minor stuff. Here comes a C major. You are communicating something, going to this major sound. Like when Greensleeves, also known as What Child Is This? When that gets into that major section, the second half of Greensleeves, right? It's a profound thing. But hey, you can write profound songs. Why not, right? So you got the E minor and the A minor and E minor and then A minor. And then if you want the C, here comes the C. Maybe to G, G like golf. And that could be, say, the chorus of your song, C and G. Guess what? The melody could and should still use notes in the C major scale. You're still in the world of C, right? You're just playing C and G chords for the chorus here, right? Why not? And then you can go back to the E minor, to A minor, all right? Why can't a song have a minor sounding section and then a major sounding section? And if your chorus is C to G, right? It's time to go back to the verse. You could do a cool little walk down on the G. That's leading you from the G back to the E minor, because those of you songwriters, you know what I'm talking about. You got to get, verse, chorus, you got to get back to the verse somehow, right? So what I just did right there, remember, I know I'm in the key of C. I know I got all the notes right there. I did a little walk down. My goal is to go from a G chord to an E minor chord to start the verse again. So I walk down from the note G, 6th string, 3rd fret. And I'm looking at the same piece of paper on my screen that you guys are looking at. I went from 3 on the 6th string to 1 on the 6th string to the open 6th string, the note E. And of course, that note E leads me perfectly into the E minor chord, right? G. And then I can begin my next verse. Okay, some ideas for you. But now, my number one thing on my agenda was to recycle a major scale. So we chose the C major scale. We recycled it into the E Phrygian mode. By definition, the Phrygian mode is a minor sound, so an E minor chord makes sense. And any other chords are legal as long as they're chords that you would find in the key of C, such as A minor, D minor, C, F, and G. Okay, and this is all inspired by Tomatito, Grammy-nominated guitarist, nominated in the category of Best Latin Jazz Album. So there you go, recycling scales. All right, my friends, a lesson you'll never forget. What do you think? Wingo, you got it. Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, Locrian. Jazz players make use of scales always, constantly. Modes, jazz players make use of modes. That's part of being a jazz player. Those of us who aren't hardcore jazz players, we're less likely to make modes part of our daily playing, our daily lives. But there's an example. What we just did right there, easy chords, but technically we're in this world of the Phrygian mode. But we weren't facing a whole lot of physical challenges, right? Hey, Paul says, hello, Jonathan. The age-old battle between happy and sad, right? Yeah, you got a minor kind of thing and then a major kind of thing. Why not? A to Z me says, Canadians use the freezing mode. There you go. There you go. Okay, my friends, we're getting towards the end. I'm going to wrap up in a minute. I want to throw 5 quick things your way. You guys know I like this magazine called Songlines. The most recent issue has 50 global guitar greats. You ready for 5 more? Links to 5 videos featuring these 5 people will be in the description of this video very quickly after this video wraps up in a few minutes. We'll wrap up in a few minutes. That's when this live stream will be done. Tomorrow morning, I will be time-stamping this live stream the way I do pretty much every Sunday morning. And then you'll be able to zip right to exact points where you can review whatever you want to review. Tuba Christmas or Power Chord Cousins, for those of you who are here at the beginning of the live stream. Hey, thank you for being here, by the way. Next week, don't go anywhere. Next week, the winter solstice, December 21st, shortest day of the year. We'll have some fun, but I'll be here. I'll be here if you're here. Okay. 5 global guitar greats. Jorge Ben-Hor from Brazil, the father of samba rock, leader of the Tropicalia movement. I found a cool video of him playing a Telecaster with a band, playing, singing. Jorge Ben-Hor. I will put a video link to a YouTube video of him in the description of this video. Not a total coincidence. Also on the list, Carlos Santana, originally from Mexico. The link I'm going to share with you guys is from the Woodstock Festival in 1969. He's playing a sweet red Gibson SG, sounding amazing. The song called Soul Sacrifice. Also among the 50 global guitar greats, slack key guitarist from Hawaii. I first became aware of him when Ry Cooder mentioned him in an interview. Gabby Pahinui, almost certainly not how you pronounce his name, Pahinui, from Hawaii, playing a 12-string. If you're familiar with a slack key style of guitar playing, acoustic guitar with the strings somewhat slack, loosened. The video is him actually playing with another guitarist named Peter Moon. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. I have never been to Hawaii, but I listen to music and I pretend in my imagination. 2 more. Daughter of a diplomat from Mali. One of her albums, she got some assistance from John Paul Jones, from Led Zeppelin. From Mali, Rokia Traore. Very cool guitarist, great singer. She also is among the 50 global guitar greats. And one more from Niger, actually on the cover right here, Mdu Mokhtar. I believe several of these people, including Mdu Mokhtar, are on tour. Well, for sure, Mdu Mokhtar is on tour right now from the country of Niger, what a lot of people call desert blues. Sweet sounding Stratocaster. There's actually 2 Strats in the band. His first guitar made of salvaged wood and bicycle cables. And he's for sure on tour through the US right now. Mdu Mokhtar, very cool. Okay, so those are 5 of the 50 global guitar greats. Definitely part of my education, and I'm sharing the same education with you guys. So there you go. Now, my friends, I think we've covered most of what I wanted to cover today. If you have a question, this is it, man. Don't be shy. This is it. If you have a question, or if you asked a question and I did not notice it, now's the time, man. Don't be shy. Otherwise, I think that might be a nice note to end on. Okay. Thank you for being here. We did it. We had some fun. We made some noise. We learned some stuff. Had a little bit of apple cider. Okay. To be continued. The AC Poet says, thank you. You are very, very welcome. Next Saturday, let's do it all again. Let's learn some new stuff, a new sing-along song. If you are shopping, I'm going to put that Sweetwater affiliate link in the, I'll put it in the description, but I'll put it in the chat one more time. You guys brought to my attention that my old link was not working correctly, and you were correct. And so, hey, Tom says, I'm liking this channel. Thank you, Tom. I appreciate that. I put my new Sweetwater link in the chat again right now. Will the old one ever come back? I hope so. But anyways, you got that right there. Paul is recommending Fairport Convention. Famous folks. Fairport Convention. Yep. We should all be familiar with the Fairport Convention. Anybody else listening to Fairy Tale of New York, the Pogues Christmas song right now? I sang that all the way to work this morning. I was that guy driving with his mouth, wide open, sing the whole time. I have no idea if anyone could hear me or not, but that's what I do this time of year. All right, you guys. On that note, I will see you next Saturday. I'm going to say a few good nights. Remember, if I need to communicate something with you guys. I do it through my Instagram page or my Facebook page. So if you follow me on those pages, that's how you find out if I have to make any adjustments to a live stream. Earlier, later, a different day. But for the most part, we're sticking with these Saturdays, and it works well for me. But head over to Instagram or Facebook, SongBike. Just do a search for the phrase SongBike, all one word, SONGBIKE, and you'll find me. Okay, I'm going to say goodnight to DAC Poet, Paul Sharkey Mannion, Tom Davis, Wingo, A to Z Me, good night. Who else is here in the chat? I want to thank Beginner Guitar Lessons for being our moderator. Music Fan, thank you for being our moderator. Jamie is still there. I want to say good night, Jamie. Who else? Joseph, if you're still there. Michael Fisher, if you're still there. Watcher Dan, Scott Rhodes, Chaz, if you're there. All right, you guys. Chris, Rock Lobster, Poopa John. All right, you guys. Have a great weekend, the rest of your weekend. Hope you have a chance to play the guitar. Hope you're staying warm wherever you are. Keep your guitars warm, too. Don't let that guitar get cold, especially acoustic guitars. Ooh, it's bad for them to get cold. So keep them warm. I will see you guys next Saturday. Take care. My weekend begins now. Woohoo! All right, you guys. See you next time.